Hello, friends. We're back again. It's youtube.com/Fightful. That's a weird thing for me to say because I normally say the other one. We'll talk about them in a minute. It's youtube.com/Fightful. I am Actual Pearl, and it is April the 1st. And we just watched Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor for 2022. I'm here with Steven Jensen. Steven, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. I've been watching a lot of wrestling the last few days. We got, the Collective, of course, and we got stuff from Impact. We got stuff on Fight TV. We had stuff on IWTV. We had a whole bunch of stuff to watch. We have WrestleMania tomorrow, rocking my Steve Austin shirt because I'm getting in the mood for WrestleMania. So, and there's still a lot more Collective stuff. I mean, spring breaks after we go off the air tonight. I'm going to go watch that. I mean, this is my favorite time of the year to be a wrestling fan. And I think Ring of Honor totally delivered tonight, which we're about to be talking about.
They did. I think there was a lot of really, really great stuff on tonight's show. There was some stuff that I think will come and go with the growing pains of Ring of Honor having a new owner and a new potential identity. There was definitely a lot of shifting, not only of titles, but also of talent and maybe the way they want to tell their stories, and maybe whether or not Ring of Honor ranks as a subordinate to AEW, or maybe if they want to push it and be a little bit higher than that, depending on the titles they give them. Well, we're going to get right into it. And we're going to talk all about it. Hello, chat. We hope you're doing well. Man, listen, you started off very simply. We got a super chat from All Elite Dan saying, I love Ring of Honor. And so listen, I'll just ask right away. When Ring of Honor had Final Battle a few months ago, a lot of people were talking about Ring of Honor never coming back again. Were you under the impression, Steven, or did you think that Ring of Honor would be coming back for this show at all? Tony Khan not involved, just would it have come back, do you think?
Without Tony Khan's involvement, I was very skeptical because the last show, Final Battle, did seem like a big, celebration of the history of Ring of Honor. And I think they went into it even with the mindset of if this is it, let's go out with a bang. I don't think anybody knew for sure at that time exactly what was going on. I will say this, tonight felt like a definite relaunch of Ring of Honor. It really felt like the old version of Ring of Honor ended at Final Battle. And then tonight was clearly the new direction of whatever Ring of Honor is going to be going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know if you caught the pre-show, the opening 0 hour show. Did you get a chance to watch it through?
Yeah, absolutely.
We get right into it. It's Blake Christian taking on Colt Cabana in a match that was really fun, really good. Blake Christian has been getting a lot of reps lately, especially in GCW. Nice to see him here back in Ring of Honor. And Colt Cabana is a nice little throwback to his Ring of Honor days. What do we think of this match? Good to see Colt maybe get the win back in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, for sure. He did the I forget what you call it, the Chicago Skyline. The move. Yeah, that's always cool to see because you just don't everyone's been kind of jonesing for years to see Generico do the brain buster, the same kind of thing, and he hasn't done it in so long. It's cool to see guys go back to their old school moves and their old school environments. Pretty cool. I thought the match was solid for what it was, and it was a cool thing to see Cabana kind of back in his element because the AEW audience pretty much just knows him as just kind of a random member of the Dark Order. So a lot of newer fans were probably kind of surprised as to what they saw tonight, and I thought the match was solid.
It was. I really enjoyed watching Colt Cabana do the showboating, his old school kind of ROH character that he had. He didn't sell himself short. He did. Yeah, you're right. He didn't portray himself as AEW Colt Cabana. He was very much Ring of Honor Colt Cabana, doing his own counts. I thought was hilarious to open this match with the referee shaking his hand. There was a lot of good little jabs, little jokes here. And then, of course, what can you say about Blake Christian? He's on a tear, and even taking an L here, he looked fantastic.
Yeah, I got to see his match against Gresham live in Atlanta, and Blake Christian's one of those guys that just ever since leaving the WWE, he's been heavily featured and heavily pushed everywhere he's been for good reason. He's fantastic in the ring, and I think he's now kind of turning the corner as well on that little something extra, kind of either charisma wise or a little something. I felt like he's kind of needed to turn the corner on, and I think he's in the process of doing that right now. And I think he's been really, really great. I'm actually kind of surprised to see him lose to Colt, even though Colt's an OG ROH guy, because Blake has been just on such a hot streak everywhere he's been. But that said, there's no shame in losing to Colt Cabana. And Blake Christian has a whole lot of options right now in the world of wrestling. Like, he's all over the place. And, he's just one of those guys that I think it wasn't a great fit for the WWE when he was there as Trey Baxter. But, like, outside of the WWE, he can really flourish. And we're getting to see that.
I think there's a lot of things that Blake Christian was able to take from his time in WWE to bring onto what he's doing now, and that's a really good thing to have. A lot more tools in his pocket like that. So I'm a fan of it, and I like to see maybe a little bit more of him as he makes his way around the Indies, around Ring of Honor, and good to see Colt as well.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny how a lot of the time in GCW, the commentators will be like they'll refer to it as Blake Christian's excursion. They'll be like, Blake Christian just went on a brief hiatus and excursion, and now he's back. And like, they don't really ever address exactly where he was, but like, obviously they're talking about the WWE. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that's one thing, like him and Alex Zane and Anthony Henry and like a lot of those guys that didn't have long runs there. I think they all came out of it saying pretty positively about how like they did still learn a lot while they were there, especially about just like the television aspect of wrestling and selling things different ways and stuff. So yeah, it just is what it is. But I think Blake Christian, like I said, I think he's doing great for himself right now.
Yeah, and speaking of doing great for ourselves and yourselves, go ahead and drop us a thumbs up here on this video. Can't tell you how much that means to us. And also, if you want to donate a super chat, we'll get them read on the air, a humper chat as well. You might ask, hey, what's the difference between that? It's just money, right? No, it's a little bit different. You see, with the super chat, it's in that window on youtube.com/Fightful where you can donate any amount and get your question statement read on the air, and that's fine. But then Google takes a bunch of money from it. So instead, we got our Humper Chats where you can help support us a little bit more. Go to humperchats.com and you can donate any amount and we get your question, your statement read on the air. Let's move on. We'll talk about AQA taking on Miranda Alize. Now, I don't know about you, Steven, but I really, really like seeing AQA in Ring of Honor. And I think her being in Ring of Honor makes great sense. I think it's the right way for her to go.
Yeah, I completely agree because when she got signed to AEW, she had really got signed off of like one or two matches there. She hadn't done a lot in the company, but there was a lot of potential there. And I thought it was a smart signing, but it was hard to know where she kind of figured in that division, kind of like, just because it is becoming more and more stacked of a division. The more women that AEW gets from outside to come in and the better that like the homegrown AEW women keep getting themselves. AQA was in an uphill battle kind of from day one on like finding a spot on that roster. And ROH, and it won't just be her, by the way. This is going to be something that I think ROH is used for a lot going forward. And I think this is, like you said, it was perfect for AQA to be in this match because it could showcase her in a different company where I think she can get a lot more wins and really be a lot more showcased so that when she is used more heavily on AEW sometime in the future, she has the reputation of what she did in Ring of Honor, and that helps get her in a good position in AEW eventually. So,
yeah, having AQA not only face Miranda Alize, but also defeat Miranda Alize, who was also a part of the Ring of Honor Women's Championship before the pandemic, or sorry, during the pandemic, I should say, really helped kind of shape the match a lot better. Commentary was very good at putting that point across, and it felt a lot as we walked through the pre-show that the wrestlers who were winning these matches are the ones that were going to find their way into Ring of Honor more frequently. People like Colt Cabana, people like AQA, people like we're going to talk about Tully Blanchard Enterprises in the next match. That it feels like a lot of those guys and girls are going to be big mainstays in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I also agree about Miranda Alize, by the way. I think she's very talented. I liked her a lot in that ROH women's tournament. Anytime you can get her and Roxy in the ring together, it won't happen again for probably a long time with Roxy going to the WWE. But Alize has the talent to maybe go there at some point as well, for sure. So, like, this was a really good matchup between two up-and-coming talents in the female division.
Yeah, absolutely. As moving on through the...
Oh, by the way, sorry. Got to mention the shooting star press at the end.
That's right.
She has a beautiful looking shooting star press, but that looked like it really hurt. I'll say that. That one looked like it really hurt, but it looks very impressive when she's up in the air. So
wasn't the first time tonight in that match where somebody hit a move that they're normally very good at, and it looked a lot more brutal than normal on their opponent. We'll get to that in a few minutes.
I know where you're going with that.
Oh, sure. I'm sure you do. Moving on, we had Eli Isom and Cheeseburger teaming up to take on a Tully Blanchard tag team. Tully Blanchard has opened up his Tully Blanchard Enterprises, and he introduced the world to Khan and Toa Leona. Now, I don't know if you had any other people in mind when you heard about this match for Tully Blanchard to introduce. Was there anyone that immediately jumped out? Are you happy with this team? Does it make sense to you? What are your thoughts?
So I'm not going to say I'm disappointed with the team, because I think they could be interesting and successful with Tully Blanchard. Like, I'm not gonna get down on this because it wasn't the team I was hoping it would be. But the team I was hoping it would be was going to be the workhorsemen, JD Drake and Anthony Henry. That's what I was really hoping for, because they would be so perfect with Tully as well. And they had a match on AEW Dynamite not too long ago against the Combat Club, and JD Drake's there with the wingmen, but like they need to transition him out of that, in my opinion, and get him and Anthony Henry together tag teaming. So I was hoping it was going to be them. But that said, this I think I was interested in, and I am interested going forward. What did you think about it?
I thought it was perfect in a lot of ways, because these are two guys who are under development, who have been around AEW and I guess Ring of Honor a little bit as well, or at least very showcased on the indies. And for them to come into a place like a reimagined Ring of Honor, where we're looking at a developmental territory and not an established one, this is great for them. And these are clearly, this is clearly a tag team that Tony Khan and anyone else who's involved with Ring of Honor sees some potential in. And I think having a guy like Tully Blanchard representing them, that makes it even bigger. They're calling the team the Gates of Agony.
Yeah.
When they said the Gates of Agony, you know what I immediately thought? And I know it's the wrong guy. I was thinking Paul Ellering, and I thought Authors of Pain.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, is what you were probably thinking would be Authors of Pain. Yeah.
Would have been insane, but no, we got two guys who are just as big and just as powerful. Quite enjoyed that match. It's just a simple squash. Iceman Cheeseburger are not lost in the shuffle by losing in that match, I don't think.
Yeah. And the finish being the Samoan Spike Umaga style, I hadn't seen that in a while. So
yeah, they did. Yeah. Really enjoyed it. Joe Hendry was supposed to have a match at Supercard. He got his match on the pre-show. He faced Dalton Castle, who now has brand new music, I guess. I don't remember him using this, but it's now a variation of Radio Gaga by Queen instead of I Want It All. That's really all I got from this match, other than the fact that Joe Hendry put on an extra 30 pounds and looked real beefy in this match. It was fine. It just didn't do a ton for me personally. Give me your thoughts, Hendry and Castle.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way you did. I mean, there wasn't anything spectacular, but it is a good sign for Dalton Castle going forward. Like, because I think he does have a good place probably going forward in the reimagined Ring of Honor. Because you could tell, like you said earlier, like by who's winning and losing these matches, you can kind of start figuring out like who will probably be more regular than others going forward. And the bangarang, that move is like, that's always kind of a cool thing to see. I like it. So yeah, good for Dalton Castle. I mean, he's a guy who's in a really interesting position with Ring of Honor. He's been there forever, and he's been the world champion, and like he's been around a long time since he was the world champion. And like he was in kind of a tough spot before the shift. So like, this is at least a good sign, I think, with the new Ring of Honor for him, probably. So,
yeah, it's interesting with Dalton Castle, like you said, a former Ring of Honor champion, someone that a lot of people were very high on, had very big expectations for. Unfortunately, found himself injured, and that kind of put a wrench into his Ring of Honor World Championship reign. And I don't know, I never really felt that he bounced back after that. His injury kind of prohibited him from getting back to the gear that we all love from Dalton Castle.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of what I was saying. And if I remember correctly, remember who he beat for the title?
Oh my God, I'm having a blank.
If I remember correctly, I'm double checking myself, but I'm pretty sure he's the one that beat Cody for the Ring of Honor Championship.
I think you're right, and it was that final battle.
Yeah, I'm almost positive, because I remember him beating him with like a roll up or something like that, or like a small pack or a schoolboy or something. And I was like, I lost my mind. Anyway. But yeah, this like I said, this is a good sign for Dalton Castle going forward. Like they'll do something with him in Ring of Honor, it looks like.
We have a super chat from the Bad One Jam Beard saying, shout out to Denise Del Casto. I mean Salcedo. I don't know if you caught that. Ian Riccaboni trying to throw to the back. We love Ian Riccaboni. He had a little bit of a clumsy moment, called Denise Del Casto It's fine. I thought Del Taco. I don't know. I'm just crazy. In all seriousness, though, as a fan, I'm so proud of her moving up in the wrestling world. It was so neat to see Denise, who is frequently a part of Fightful and part of that energy, and you see her on GCW all the time, bringing her energy to Ring of Honor. I thought that was really neat. Good for her on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I did catch that as well. The mispronunciation. It was kind of funny, but yeah, I feel the same way about Denise. Like, I tell her every time we do like one of our post-show reviews here on Fightful for like Impact, I always tell her like how awesome I think it is that she gets to do stuff with GCW, and now she gets to do stuff with Ring of Honor. I mean, yeah, she works super hard, so I'm very happy for her.
Closing out the pre-show, there was a little segment with Bandito and Chavo Guerrero, and we'll get into the match later on as we get to the main event. But Bandito was asking Chavo not to cheat in his match.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but the first thing I thought about was, oh no, he's gonna. Like, it was very telling, and I just don't know why we needed it.
Well, because like you said, I felt the same way, because like they weren't together at all prior to this. So it's like the first thing we're seeing of them together is him being like hinting at that. You know what I mean? Like, you're immediately like, they're caught. Like, why would you even bring this up the first time we ever see them talk to each other if they aren't going to do what you just said?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it was we're going to talk about that more at the main event, but like Chavo being with Bandito was weird as hell, and it made no sense at all. Like, the only sense it made at all is they're both Hispanic. Like, that's literally the only connection I think that there is between the two. Like,
yeah, I'll give a shout out to Lucha Blog on Twitter, who had pointed this out. There is no connection between Bandito. There's no connection with the Guerreros. They have never interacted in the Lucha world. They were just kind of thrown together as a way to maybe appease Chavo Guerrero. I will say this, commentary did a pretty good job of pointing out the fact.
I'm on the ROH stream as well. I'm on both shows right now.
You're on both shows right now?
I'm simulcasting myself.
Oh,
is the name on the contract says Lambert?
Yeah.
Wow. What's up, man?
This is a problem.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everyone watch the Spotlight on Thursdays. Me and Jeremy, 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel.
Jensen's talking about the Spotlight. Kate's asking me about how I'm going for WrestleMania weekend. I'm not going to stay long. I just wanted to see if this was possible, that I could pull a Rick Rude here. You know, the Young Bucks are on AEW and ROH, so here I am on AEW and ROH.
Dude, yesterday, Ninja Mac pulled a Rick Rude during our interview. He was wrestling on Bloodsport. Anyways, Jeremy's like doing
all right,
stuff.
I'm going to give my comments on Samoa Joe, since Kate asked, and that is also part of the ROH show that you guys are doing. Right.
Yeah, but we're not at the Mimosa Joe part. What are you talking about?
I don't care. We're talking about Samoa Joe, Joel. Samoa Joe's back. Sammy Joe's back. It's great. Everyone have a great show. Everyone have a great WrestleMania weekend. Kate has an Austin shirt on. Steven Jensen has an Austin shirt on. You guys have a great weekend. I don't know what that shirt is, Joel. Joel, congratulations on being a father. Alex, congratulations on being a father. You've been one longer than Joel, but still congratulations. Guys, have a great night. I've pulled the Young Bucks. I'm good. Bye.
Okay, he's still okay. I was about to do it.
That was the most awkward goodbye I could think of.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that happened.
So Chavo Guerrero comes in, and now he's just there. And just like Jeremy, he just kind of showed up and he was just there.
And everyone was just confused, just like Jeremy and Chavo.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel bad for anyone who was just listening to this in audio form.
That's all right.
All right. Let's go on. We got the main card. We got the stuff that people really want to talk about. Show opens up. We've got Zane taking on Swerve Strickland. First of all, we need to address in a very, very important moment. Code of Honor was adhered to.
Yeah, you seem very locked in on that tonight.
Tonight, I needed to know that the Code of Honor was adhered to. Otherwise, I told you I would not be covering this match. Briscoes and FTR, they were just under the wire. They adhered to the Code of Honor after the match. Therefore, we can talk about it. Let's talk about Zayn and Strickland first. First of all, you want an opening match that people are going to remember? I think that was it. There was so much good stuff going on. A lot of flipping, a lot of flopping, a lot of flying. And just to watch these two work and the confidence that Swerve has, it's not just a gimmick. I love watching him work.
Yeah, I totally agree. He he's really like hitting another level right now. I feel like he was already great, and he was great in the indies pre WWE, and then like he got even better in the WWE in my opinion. He was great in Lucha Underground, his kill shot. I talk about that all the time. And he really like I got to see him live at Terminus fairly recent. I mean, like last month, and even the way he just carries himself, like, but he's like a super nice guy. Like when he was just like talking to fans and stuff after the match, like super nice guy, just with a real confidence about him, like you said. And Alex Zane, I mean, another one of those guys. A lot of the stuff that I said about Blake Christian earlier, you can like kind of echo for Alex Zane, like just in ring, fantastic. And now Alex Zane is also like putting more of it together, I think, like, which is interesting. Like after leaving the WWE, it seems like he's becoming more and more flashy and like developing more and more of a character. But his in-ring work has always been like video game type stuff that like you didn't think was possible. So I love this match, and I love both their personalities playing off each other. And there was like 10 times I thought this match was over. Like they got me multiple times on near falls, and yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah, right from the opening. I mean, watching Zane's whole gimmick, it felt like, was just going for Hurricane Ranas and Poison Ranas. Every move was supposed to be him trying to flip Swerve, and Swerve either flipping off of that and landing on his feet like he did earlier in the match, or going after the knee and trying to prevent Alex Zane from hitting a Hurricane Rana. The Poison Rana from the apron to the floor from Alex Zane to Swerve was aces, very stuff. Absolutely gnarly. And then, like I said, you got a double stomp from Swerve onto Zane's knee, and that kind of stopped him from having any more heavy input or heavy offense. And then the JML driver gets the win, and Swerve is victorious tonight. It was good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another one of those things where, like, Swerve going forward, will he be more of an AEW guy, more of a Ring of Honor guy? Will there be people that kind of ping pong back and forth between both companies? We're still kind of figuring out how this is all going to work, but given how stacked AEW's roster is and how great Swerve is, like he'd fit in anywhere. Like he'd find in any company at any level, you know, for any title, in my opinion. But he might be best off right now being like one of the top people in Ring of Honor for you know, a little while. Like I could see that maybe being a thing, but I'm cool with him being anywhere. Like I said, same with Alex Zane, but I could see Alex Zane being more of like a Ring of Honor guy that comes in for cool matches like this. Cause I mean, he does a lot with GCW and on the indies as well. Like, I don't know if that's another thing about this we don't know is like how like the GCW Ring of Honor relationship of like how often certain talents won't be able to do one or the other because of one or the other. So I kind of consider Alex Zane to be more of a GCW guy, but Swerve I could see really being AEW or Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I think you had a really good point about Swerve going back and forth between AEW and Ring of Honor, and that being a good place for him. He clearly likes to work. He clearly does it well, and his character is memorable enough that you put him anywhere and he'll deliver. There's definitely room for him on both rosters, which you can't say that about everyone on either roster, Ring of Honor or AEW.
Yeah, for sure. Because the thing with AEW is like you have to climb the ranking system. You have to, you know, you like in Ring of Honor, I think that Swerve, and also just the star power, if we're being honest. I mean, like the star power in AEW is like through the roof right now with all the people that they've signed. And Swerve, like I said, I think fits with those people, but he really would shine in Ring of Honor, like away from those people for a minute. Like, you know, if you had him and Gresham or him and Bandito or, you know, like him and Samoa Joe, like, I mean, like he could really shine in Ring of Honor. And then once again, I think the main focus of Ring of Honor is essentially going to be building more of a name and a buzz for yourself. And then when you're kind of implanted into the AEW landscape, like you come in with a lot more buzz that the fan base is going to like know about it, like right off the bat. So.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of potential there. I want to see it. I want to see it play out. Like we don't say that often, but this is one time where we can actually say it could play out and it could be very, very fun for the fans.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about something else that was a lot of fun. Ninja Mac comes out. Now you have a little bit of experience with Ninja Mac in recent days. You had your interview on Spotlight. We talked about it earlier. Go check that out. YouTube.com/Fightful. Go watch Jeremy and Steven talk to Ninja Mac, interview him. It's also, the interview is clipped and on youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked, where you should always go to get your content extra. So Ninja Mac comes out. He's told, hey, you're going to have a a guest opponent, or not a special opponent. Tully Blanchard comes out, and TBE introduces another big acquisition. And as reported, first on Fightful Select, go to FightfulSelect.com, get your scoops. Brian Cage was at Ring of Honor. Brian Cage was the special opponent for Ninja Mac tonight, and kind of beat the crap out of Ninja Mac.
Yeah, I mean, basically. See, the thing is, though, like, Ninja Mac already, like, had another match. So, like, and I think he has another match tonight at Spring Break, I'm pretty sure. So, like...
so, actually, I'm sorry, I cut you off. He did the match for Ring of Honor, and before the night was over, before Supercard was over, Ninja Mac was already out and wrestling the next show.
Oh, I know. I tweeted about it. Yeah, I know. I was watching it on the World and Lucha. Yeah, I was watching it. I had the two screens going with both of these shows. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I think he has even another one at Spring Break tonight.
Right.
Yeah, so, like, he probably wrestled earlier today too. I mean, like, the guy's nuts. He was telling me and Jeremy he literally wanted to be the wrestler that wrestled the most matches over, like, this 4-day span or whatever. He was booked for, like, double digits amount of matches. The guy's nuts. And then he's going to go fly to Japan soon and go wrestle for Pro Wrestling Noah. That being said, this match was like 3 minutes long. And it was a showcase for Brian Cage. It was a squash match. Unfortunately for Ninja Mac, I think the main reason that this happened, like, to him overall was, like, he was booked on the show before Tony Khan bought the company. And then, like, once again, me and Jeremy, we talked about this, how he didn't know who his opponent was going to be, like, legitimately. Like, it wasn't even like a storyline. He really didn't know who he was going to be wrestling. He hadn't talked to Tony Khan up until, like, a couple days ago. And, you know, if he wouldn't have been booked pre-Tony Khan, he probably just wouldn't have been on the show at all. But I think this was better than nothing. Like, they still honored, like, his announcement, and he still was on the show. It just was way more it turned out way more to be, you know, him just kind of getting squashed by Brian Cage. But at least a lot of fans that never got to see Ninja Mac before got to see him do some cool flips and stuff. So at least there's that.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? That's exactly the point I was going to make. Ninja Mac does not look bad in defeat, sells well, gets in those little moments that, you know, he goes to flip for Brian Cage, and Cage just catches him midair, makes it look crisp, makes it look good. Drill Claw gets the win after he did that gnarly throw deep six looking sidewalk slam of a release something or other. That was really good stuff, but it looked good.
Yeah. And Brian Cage is another one of those guys that, like, will heavily benefit for being in Ring of Honor. And he looked yoked. I mean, this dude, this dude, like, his traps are, like, up to, like, his earlobes, this guy. But you know, there's been all the talk about him not liking his position in AEW, and I don't know how legitimate all that is. Like, I have no idea, but he hasn't been seen on AEW a whole lot. And it would make perfect sense if he was a regular Ring of Honor person going forward. I think it would be a really good fit for him.
And speaking of good fit, I like Tully Blanchard being his mouthpiece. Not that Brian Cage can't speak, do his own thing, but having prestige like Tully there is just super helpful in a new stable where Brian Cage is, you know, the guy on top. He's got two younger guys who are equally big, strong dudes. That has potential to be a really, really good faction for Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I agree. Could be very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on. By the way, get your super chats, your humper chats in. Our pal Luis is doing a great job tonight collecting them and putting them up for us. You know what? What are we doing here? I'm trying to catch up here on super chats. Okay, a lot of people are going to talk about matches that are coming up yet. So let's go and talk about Lee Moriarty with Matt Sydal taking on Jay Lethal. First of all, Sanjay Dutt sitting with Gary Jester. I'm sitting there and I'm just like, okay, Sanjay makes sense. No, it doesn't. And not at all, because then they have to use him somehow. But Gary Jester makes sense. Nice to see him, given his experience, his relationship with Ring of Honor. Either way, Jay Lethal and Lee Moriarty, the match was built as Lee is the mirror of Jay Lethal at 25. What did you think of that story? Did that work for you? Was that something you were into?
Not necessarily, because I see them as being fairly different. Like, Lethal has always been a very solid overall, like, wrestler. He's always had good matches, and like you said, but like, you also think about, which I'm not saying this was bad, but you also think about like the Macho Man stuff and the Ric Flair stuff, and like just I don't think of any of that when I think of Lee Moriarty. You know what I mean? When I think of Lee Moriarty, I just think of like just kind of like a good-looking, young, up-and-coming wrestler that's a technical wizard. Like, just so I honestly don't see a whole lot of, outside of them both being very good workers in the ring. Like, I don't see a whole lot of similarity between the two of them.
Yeah. It was someone had pointed out online that at 25, Lethal had done so many other things, including, his TNA run, the Black Machismo gimmick. Like, he had done so many things that Lee Moriarty still has the potential to go that much higher and do that much more, but like they don't really parallel all that much. There hasn't been that. I think maybe the conversation should have been Lee Moriarty has the opportunity to be as big as Lethal became.
Yeah.
Right? Am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're crazy. I think this kind of ties in with the main event at the end of the show, after the show. Because Moriarty was in the ring too, right, with Samoa Joe and stuff at the end. I think he was out there like helping him out.
Yeah.
So like with so what I think they're overall what they're building. We're jumping ahead a little bit, but we'll pull it back. Like Jay Lethal, they're kind of playing it up like Lee Moriarty is almost like the protege of Jay Lethal. They aren't, but that's kind of the narrative of like kind of what this looks like. Lee Moriarty could be like a multi-time champion in Ring of Honor eventually, like Jay Lethal was. But the other thing is, Jay Lethal, he was Samoa Joe's protege when Jay Lethal came into Ring of Honor. So like, I think what they're trying to do is somehow over time here, like the rub will eventually all kind of trickle down to Moriarty, but like this is a way I think of him getting in the mix with guys like Lethal and Samoa Joe, and it making sense why he, with such like little experience in the fan perspective, like why he would be involved in this at all. Because I think at the end of the day, Moriarty, like if he's not going to be a part of the Combat Club in AEW, I think that he needs to be like just push him like crazy in Ring of Honor as just a technical wrestler and like eventually make him the world champion of the company. So
I like the idea. And again, going back to callbacks or going back to crossover appeal, I like that they had Jay Lethal weeks ago saying, I need to do something to get back on top. I need to find ways to win. And this is it. This is how he decides to do it. He low blows Lee Moriarty late in the match, gets that big time heat from the crowd. They had none of it. They hated it. It was perfect. During the match, they're trading pins. Including that there was a pin counter out of the lethal injection that you don't see very often. I thought that was really cool from Lee Moriarty. You do the little things like the Hail to the King, the Macho Elbow Drop. For those who don't know, that's Jay Lethal's thing. Yeah, we had a lot of that tonight. Mm-hmm. It was all in all a good match. Jay Lethal wins after that whole low blow scramaz, and then. What do you do with Matt Sydal on his crutches? You kick him out from under. You kick his leg out from under his leg.
I was about to say that's exactly what I was about to say. Shout out Owen Hart.
That's right.
Yes.
I liked it. You know what? At first I was like, this is silly. And then we started seeing the seeds planted for later in the night because Sanjay Dutt comes out. He's trying to pull Jay Lethal away from Matt Sydal. Jay Lethal off of Matt Sydal as Matt Sydal's being beaten down by Lethal. They talk about the connection between Dutt and Lethal. There's good stuff. And I mean, at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, as good as this is, I wonder if this was the plan for Jay Lethal, turning heels specifically, before Ring of Honor was purchased by Tony Khan. Was that the play? And if it was, this is a way to do it. And if it wasn't, then, well, they definitely hit the right note tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Either way, it worked out great. So yeah, I do think, when Ring of Honor or when AEW rather signed some of the people they signed to AEW, they did it knowing that like they were going to be purchasing Ring of Honor soon. Like they were kind of front stacking, like in preparation for that. So some of the talents that you might have been a little more head scratching, like, man, the roster's already so overloaded with people and this and that. It's like, well, it's not going to be quite as overloaded if they have an entire other company that they can now influx with talent. So,
yeah, that's a To me, that's a whole other can of worms, and I don't know if we want to get into that. I do wonder, because a lot of the conversation with AEW becomes how many people can you sign? Is there too many because there's not a lot of TV or not enough TV? And then a lot of people say shuffle them to Ring of Honor, but Ring of Honor is a TV-less property right now itself. How do you balance everything? And does it really make sense to say, oh, Ring of Honor is just a place where you can harbor more talent?
Well, we don't know that yet, but I do imagine. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of faith in Tony Khan and what these people are going to be doing. Like, I'm not worried about it. I think that they're going to figure it out, and they'll have distribution. They'll have some sort of deal where you can watch Ring of Honor.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's more the conversation of, if Ring of Honor is a 1-hour show and you're bringing on so many more people that, you're signing more and more people, is that going to be detrimental? Is it going to be helpful? Again, we've seen so far that when the shuffle is good, Tony Khan does a really good job with shuffling his roster and his deck.
Yeah, absolutely. What up, Jesse? I see you in the chat.
Oh, heck yeah. How you doing, Jesse? Tell me, spitting facts, apparently.
Yeah. You can listen to me and Jesse's WrestleMania predictions. It's on our YouTube channel.
And you can also listen to Jambeard, who sends a super chat, says, this is my very first time watching a Ring of Honor show other than with the YouTube clips. I think they may have picked a good one because I loved it. And you know what? If you're a new Ring of Honor fan, I think this was probably a really good show for you to get into. It's a reset. It's a lot of history was explained by commentary. I think they did a good job of that. And overall, I think they put a lot of good pieces together to get a new fan invested in Ring of Honor. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And they did a good job mixing in, like even if you were strictly, this is like kind of a niche part of the fan base potentially, but like, even if you are only an AEW fan, like let's say you only watch AEW, there's enough crossover between people you recognize from AEW and people you wouldn't know if you don't pay attention to the indies. They did a good job kind of mixing the show up with a bunch of that, like FTR, for instance, which we'll talk about here shortly. Like, that alone, I think, was enough to bring in fans that might not have any idea who, I don't know, Rhett Titus might be. You know what I mean? But now they leave the show at least knowing who Rhett Titus is. So, I agree. I think this was a great show and card, and like the way they put this whole thing together, I think, was good for anybody who. It was good for the longtime Ring of Honor fans, and this I think honors the history of Ring of Honor, like what they're doing with this. And if you've never seen Ring of Honor before, I think it was a good show to jump in on.
Yeah, I think so too. If you were a newer fan, you can kind of latch on and get an idea of what's going on. So it's good. Let's keep going. By the way, thank you for the super chat, Daniel, saying, I feel like Ring of Honor works with a streaming deal for TV. And I agree with that. I see Jesse piping in, coming soon to HBO Max. I'm not against it. It makes perfect sense to me. You could do it. You have a lot of content that you can throw up on there as well. But I guess we're going to have to wait and see, aren't we?
Yeah, let's get a Ring of Honor Degrassi crossover on HBO Max.
My God, Degrassi of Honor?
Degrassi of Honor. Every
Ring
Friday,
of Degrassi. 10
a.m., Fightful overbooked.
All right. Interim Women's Championship. The Ring of Honor Women's Champion, Deonna Purrazzo, was unavailable for Supercard of Honor. So instead, they crowned an interim Ring of Honor Women's Champion tonight. It's Willow taking on Mercedes Martinez. Now, fair warning, I am biased. I'm a big Mercedes Martinez fan. I think she can do almost no wrong. A wonderful, wonderful match to watch Mercedes in and to watch Mercedes Martinez win that interim women's championship. But I will not say a bad thing about Willow Nightingale or Willow as she is on Ring of Honor. Just a really interesting matchup between these two. Very different competitors, very different styles. And I think they mashed up pretty good. A little bit of awkwardness towards the end, and we'll get there. Start us off. What'd you like about this match? What did you enjoy?
So this was another one of those where whether you're a longtime indie fan, a NXT fan, a AEW fan, like most wrestling fans will know Mercedes Martinez. And then Willow, if you follow the indie, she's all over the place. But, if not, this might have been the first time you've seen her. So like this is another just good example of like mixing in known talent with up and coming talent. And Willow's been, she's been solid for quite a while. Like she could easily have a contract really in any company I think she'd work great in Ring of Honor going forward. Like if they wanted her to stay there, she'd do fine in AEW. She'd do fine in NXT, like really wherever. But I'll say it real quick. That moonsault was brutal. Like I was surprised that Mercedes, like she looked hurt. I don't know how hurt she was, but I mean that because we've seen like I remember like Bob Holly like having his arm broken by Kurt Angle, like in a really similar where like their legs came down like that. So but as far as the rest of the match, I mean, I thought it was a solid match, and I'm never going to be upset with Mercedes Martinez winning a match like this. Like, and then it just builds it even more to her versus Diana eventually, which is going to be great. So,
yeah. So the point of this match with Willow and Martinez, you had Martinez, who's like a brute suplex and beatdown type of competitor, and Willow uses like a lot more. Just a lot of moves-based offense. Like she'll do the angle slam, she'll do the pounce, she'll do the cannonball in the corner. It's very different from where Martinez will kind of like wrestle you down and force you down. And you can see her doing like trying for a spider German suplex, which is one of her signature moves now. And then being caught in a tree of woe, only to have Willow hit her with the corner splash. You know, right? There's a good difference in work there. And on top of that, talk about that moonsault. You just alluded to it. Willow goes to the top, hits that moonsault, but her knees kind of hit Mercedes Martinez in the sternum, and it looked rough, like as if Martinez was like trying to get her air back, to the point where commentary had to say Willow felt bad and had to check on Martinez before going for the pin. Like they covered it up as best as they could, but man, that was a rough looking spot. Mercedes was able to lock in Brass City Sleeper, and that was it. But it kind of fell flat at the finish because I think the crowd was a little shocked from that moonsault. Either way, Martinez with the Ring of Honor Interim Women's Championship. And like you said, Deonna Purrazzo, man, that's going to be a good match. We've seen it, but we're going to see it in a totally different world. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, shout out to Mercedes Martinez for like, that's toughness right there. Like finishing the match so strong, not just finishing it where like sometimes I'm not judging by any means when this kind of thing happens, but sometimes someone gets hurt and they kind of go right to like a roll up or something, like something really awkward, like just to get the hell out of there and like go get checked on. She like really finished the match. Like she like caught her wind and they had a couple more minutes of like back and forth wrestling before she got in that submission with the Dragon Sleeper. Like and we don't know the extent of that. Like, when I see stuff like that happen, I immediately think like potential broken rib and stuff like, and the way, like you said, the way she reacted to it. And it was, I don't know if I liked it or not, how the commentary mentioned shit that she checked on her. Like, I don't mind it, but it was kind of strange that they did because it was so quick. Like she was on top of her and she was clearly checking on her, but we see that a lot in wrestling and the commentators don't bring it up, So I mean, once again, I don't have a problem with it. It just stood out that like they did that. So
I think the one thing with Ring of Honor commentary that I notice above all else is that they'll go out of their way to call attention to little things that maybe some fans will pick up on, but not all fans. And they'll try and explain it away and try to be quick on their feet. Maybe it's too cute. Maybe that's true. Personally, I'm a fan of them at least trying to give some sort of reasoning to an awkward spot. They did the same thing. They did it a few times. They did it in the main event as well. But to me, it made sense here. I get why it might not make sense to everyone or might not be enjoyable. But the one thing I want to add too about getting to Martinez versus Perazzo, again, talking about Ring of Honor as a developmental territory, Mercedes Martinez is the perfect champion for that brand. In a brand where AEW is developing more women to become TV-ready wrestlers, I think wrestling Mercedes Martinez or working with someone with the experience of Martinez is a great spot to be in.
Yeah, I agree. And like, I mean, they could have had her doing that in NXT for like right now. She could like, they had her like, she could be doing this to develop talent over there too. Like, I agree. She has so much experience. She's been wrestling for so long and she's been grinding for so long. And she's so credible and believable in things that she does in the ring. Like I totally agree. I think that all the women are going to benefit. I mean, and the men, anybody who trains with her, or works with her, whatever, of any gender. I think people are going to they're going to benefit from working with her.
I think I just realized I'm a really big fan of hers because she could kick my ass and I'm afraid of her.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into this Could have been the match of the night. We're going to talk about them boys. We're going to talk about top guys. Ricardo, the bad guy, saying them boys versus top guys freaking ruled. Of course, we're talking about FTR and the Briscoes, a match months in the making, a match that honestly they didn't even have to do as nearly as much as they did to keep the crowd into it, because from the first they didn't even have to lock up to get the crowd going. An intense match.
Yeah.
So it was ridiculous. I mean, and in the best way possible. I don't even know where to start with this match. It's just FTR and classic Ring of Honor like logo. They had the FTR in the Ring of Honor logo in their gear. That was awesome. Ian referencing NXT, WWE, which is normal for Ring of Honor. They've done that before. But yeah, I mean, the Briscoes, who are also the new, spoilers, GCW Tag Team Champions, wrestling their 430 millionth match this weekend as well, giving Andrew Mack a run for his money.
They're wrestling again tonight too, by the way.
Yes, they are. That's right. Again, just they got holy shit chance before they even locked up. That was it.
Yeah, they did. They were going nuts before they even touched. I mean, that's how over these two teams are and how anticipated them finally wrestling each other was. And I hope this isn't the end, by the way, of like the Briscoes doing those promos they've been doing, like not necessarily towards FTR, because now they've shown the respect to one another. But I love those Twitter promos and stuff of like Mark Briscoe like drinking Capri Suns in the background and stuff, while Jay's like cutting promos to the camera. Like I love that stuff. This to me is no brainer, the match of the night. Like I thought this was an incredible tag team match. The main event was close. Like I could understand people going either way with the main event in this, but like this, I thought this tag team match was fantastic, and FTR winning is super cool because like, I mean, now they're the Ring of Honor tag champions and they'll be doing more there going forward, but they're a team that will for sure be ping ponging. Like there's no way they're not. I mean, we know that they're going to be wrestling the the Young Bucks,
same
the new
team.
Hardys.
Same. It's fine.
They're wrestling them, and by the way, I think the Young Bucks are the best tag team in the world. So like, I'm always down for the Young Bucks versus FTR. So we get to see the rematch on Dynamite, and yeah, this match absolutely ruled. And it's gonna be interesting seeing what happens with the Briscoes going forward, because there's all that kind of chatter about them not being able to go to AEW and what's their future in Ring of Honor and this and that, but they're killing it everywhere else. So I mean, like Joel said, GCW tag champions and one of the best tag teams of all time. So I mean, these are two of like legitimately the best tag teams of all time if you're talking about like in-ring work, overall gimmick, the actual style of tag team wrestling. So yeah, I love this.
One of my favorite spots is actually just a really good comedy spot. You had Dax Harwood throwing a chair into the ring and referee Paul Turner catching it in midair and doing his best like moment. Little stuff like that made me laugh because the match itself was just gritty. It was tag team wrestling. A lot of tag team matches just turn into like one-on-one tagging. There was just a lot of good FTR doing a lot of double teaming on the Briscoes, to the point where the Briscoes were just down and it was a lot of just 2-on-1, and then eventually them turning the tide. Just a really good tag team title match, using the Briscoes using the big rig and getting a 2 count. And this is where I saw a specific camera angle that I've never seen in wrestling, let alone Ring of Honor. They had a shot as if you were sitting front row center behind the barricade. And they kept going to that shot, and I loved it. It really puts you in the perspective of someone sitting in the audience at ringside. I was a big fan of that. I don't know if you caught that camera angle. Loved it, though.
I didn't notice that, but that's a super cool concept. I mean, I probably just didn't put it together. That's what the vantage point I was seeing at the moment. But no, that's cool that you caught that, though. Like, I mean, the more they can play around with that kind of stuff, the better. I mean, I'll never forget how influential the XFL was by putting cameras up, like moving cameras for like this, like the ceilings of stadiums and stuff. And now the NFL does all the stuff the XFL kind of innovated with their cameras and stuff. So yeah, keep playing around with that stuff. Keep playing around with these, what are they now? What K are they at on the cameras now? The ones that like can like blur out the background, but like super focus when you're coming out.
They're all 4K. They call them 8K, but that's just I
was gonna say 8K, but like I didn't know if they'd even gotten more advanced since 8K already. But yeah, no, I'm with you. It's cool. It's cool when they throw in some new as long as it doesn't involve them cutting the camera angle every half a second, then,
Yes.
you know.
I mean, unless you're watching, Jeremy and I played 2K22 on Fightful Twitch, twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming. Yes, cheap plugs. Daniel R sends us a Humper chat saying the whole show was good, but FTR versus the Briscoes, wow, that was amazing in every way. For me, an early match of the year candidate. Place was going nuts. And then we got Bucks FTR on Wednesday. Tag team wrestling is great. Also, Joe at the end was cool, and the main event was great. Let's talk about it. After FTR defeats the Briscoes, they first of all, I will go back to this. FTR coming in as the ROH invaders and getting all the heat in the world, having this banger match and getting cheered. I loved the story in there. And then afterwards, FTR, they say we're gonna, they bow to the Briscoes, they lay down the tag titles, they shake and they hug and it's just a surreal moment. And commentary is kind of putting over whether or not the Briscoes are done with Ring of Honor, and then out come the Young Bucks. And they do a super kick, Briscoes, hit the BTE trigger, and then out come FTR back to the ring. They have a little schmaz, and then they get on the microphone and they start talking smack, and they say on Dynamite they're going to do it. It's FTR Young Bucks 2. And at the time, they were unsure if they were going to put the Ring of Honor tag titles on the line. But since then, we found out that I think both the AAA and Ring of Honor tag titles will be on the line this Wednesday on Dynamite. What are your thoughts post-match, the whole stuff going down?
I love the two teams showing each other respect, and I also caught FTR calling the Briscoes the best tag team of all time. I thought that was like super high praise coming from them. Like they won't just say stuff like that. Like this stuff means too much to them to just like say stuff to say stuff. So that was a big, that was a really big kind of thing for them to say on the microphone. I also love the dynamic between Dax Harwood and Jay Briscoe. Like, I think that's also a money singles match potentially. But yeah, I love them showing each other respect after the match. And then the Young Bucks attacking the Briscoes was awesome because the crowd popped massively, and the Young Bucks obviously have a really storied, rich history in Ring of Honor. So it makes sense that they would want to be involved in the show and want to pop up on this. And I like the whole thing. And then once again, it sets up a massive title match for the belts on Wednesday on Dynamite. So you're also getting the crossover there of, if for some reason there's people watching Ring of Honor that aren't watching AEW already, like now there's a lot of incentive based off this show to watch AEW this week. So they did a lot. I think they accomplished a lot, not only with the match being incredible, but all the stuff that it built afterwards as well.
Thought it was very surreal to have Ian Riccaboni going into the main event, which is still a little while from where we're talking about now, going into the main event, running down the card for Wednesday's AEW Dynamite. It really, really put into perspective the fact that the two companies are going to be working in simpatico. And that's not a bad thing. It was just very surreal, something you didn't expect to hear on what is a branded Ring of Honor program. Yeah,
Riccaboni was like, at one point, he's like holding his headset. He's like, Tony Khan's in my ear. He's letting me know like this or that, like about the titles. And it's like, yeah, that is wild. Like Tony Khan would be in his ear. Like that's crazy. It's crazy.
Silent by Deadly, thank you for the super stickers. We appreciate you. Now things just kind of calmed down a little bit for the next few matches. It was a little hard to focus. I'm not going to lie. There was some stuff that's really good wrestling wise, some stuff that was just kind of there. But again, talking about how the Ring of Honor of new starts to kind of show its head. World TV titles on the line. Rhett Titus and Minoru Suzuki. Suzuki wrestling his 5,876th match of the weekend, and Rhett Titus, who was walking in as the World TV Champion. Again, it was a Suzuki match, a lot of plotting moments, but eventually it just kind of took a turn where Suzuki hits that gotch pile driver, pins Rhett Titus, and suddenly Minoru Suzuki is the new Ring of Honor World Television Champion.
Yeah, so it does seem a bit random, but this is the first U.S. like championship belt he's ever won, like any major title belt within the U.S. in pro wrestling, which is kind of wild considering how long he has been not only in wrestling but also in mixed martial arts. But yeah, like when they made this match, this was the easiest one of the night for me to pick a winner. I was like, there's no way Suzuki's coming in and losing to Rhett Titus. all respect to Rhett, like he has improved drastically over the years. Like going from the All Night Express with Kenny King years ago to like really getting lost in the mix and then really reinventing himself over the last few years as a part of the foundation and the pure wrestling divisions and getting his opportunity with the TV title and everything. Like he's really put in a lot of work, but at the end of the day, Minoru Suzuki is Minoru Suzuki. And like, that's, you know, he's just a different, it's hard to explain to fans who might not know as much about him, but it's just one of those things. Like he is an absolute legend. And when you have access to him for pretty much any company, he's usually treated like a really big deal. I'm not saying he's never going to lose in Ring of Honor. Like I could see him losing to certain people potentially. But I thought it was pretty obvious that if Suzuki was going to do this match, he was going to win this title. And he did it in 6 minutes. So, you know, pretty easy work from Minoru Suzuki, but cool for Rhett Titus. I mean, at the end of the day, like he came into the show with that title belt. People got to see that. And he was put in a big position with Suzuki, but yeah, Suzuki just a legend. He wasn't going to be losing this match.
Yeah. And just, it happened. Like I said, it just kind of happened. He won the match. I think you're right. If you were going to pick a match to put all your money on, Suzuki winning the World Television Championship, it was pretty much the way it was going to go. I just don't think and we're going to talk about it in a second with the pure title match too. You start to think about whether or not some of these Ring of Honor championships are going to continue existing as Ring of Honor starts to take its shape under a new management. So let's kind of move forward. Let's talk about it. Wheeler Yuta takes on Josh Woods. Shout out to Josh Woods wearing Jacksonville Jaguars gear in his match. Definitely trying to tell us something, maybe. I don't know. But either way, earlier in the night, during the pre-show, commentary. So Ian and Caprice had mentioned that William Regal might be joining them for the match, but I guess it didn't happen for whatever reason. He just kind of, I guess maybe it was just an offhanded remark. Regardless, because it's pure title, because it's pure rules, you had the three judges at ringside, Christopher Daniels, BJ Whitmer, and that pure rules beacon himself, Boom Boom Colt Cabana. What?
Yeah, random. Yeah.
Good on Colt Cabana for taking home the winner's purse in the opening contest on the pre-show, and then also getting a double payday by working as a judge in the Pure Rules title match.
Yeah, he has a lot of experience in kind of like the comedy Pure Rules almost. Like he does a lot of chain wrestling, but it's very comedy based, hard to explain.
Well, he does wear a singlet, so it makes perfect sense.
So there you go. Yeah, fair enough. He wears a wrestling uniform, basically. But yeah, I mean, this was just another one where you see more and more of like kind of what the future of Ring of Honor is going to look like. You know, Wheeler Yuta winning this title in the way that he's been pushed lately on AEW TV as like a potential member of the Combat Club, and how like he's kind of branched off from the Best Friends, and now he's the pure champion of Ring of Honor. I think that William Regal, you know, he's going to see that, and he's going to like have an even more respect for young Wheeler Yuta. And he's eventually they're going to bring him in, I believe, to the club. I think it's just, it might be as soon as this Wednesday when they're like, you proved yourself by winning this championship in Ring of Honor. Like you do your thing in Ring of Honor. We don't need you here in AEW as often. Like we need you we need you representing our club in ROH or something, you know, like, or you know, however they want to do it. I think that this is just another step towards Wheeler Yuta getting acceptance in William Regal's group with Mox and Danielson. And Josh Woods did great with the title. You know, he's the one who beat Gresham for the belt, and Gresham was like synonymous with that title belt. Yeah, so that was big when Josh Woods defeated him for it, and you know, he held the belt for quite a while. But yeah, I think it makes all the sense in the world for Wheeler Yuta to win this title.
Yeah, I fully agree with you there. Wheeler Yuta winning the pure title, just it made sense with the stories we're telling on AEW. And on top of that, the story of, you know, Dad, do you like me now? Do I have your approval now? Can I join your group now? This is one more thing for Wheeler Yuta to shove in Regal and Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley's face and just be like, I did this. I deserve to be a part of your crew. And you know what? I wouldn't hate William Regal saying, you know what? Like you were just saying, Steven, you can join the crew, but you're going to have the crew down in Ring of Honor where you're going to develop you're going to be the crossover, you're going to be the bridge, you're going to be the guy in Ring of Honor who finds the talent that joins this group, this Blackpool country club. I always
much
have a
different. Yeah,
yes,
much different thing.
Club. Yes,
yeah,
the Blackpool Combat Club, and you're going to pass them through Ring of Honor up to us. You're going to be a member, but you're not going to be necessarily like tag teaming or trios with us all the time. Maybe they can do something like that.
We could essentially be almost a recruiter where like
they
take notice of other people based on like banger matches them and Yuta wind up having. I mean, Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia had, I mean, like in Wheeler Yuta and Lee Moriarty, I mean, these guys have been killing it for so long on the indies, like against each other, that now it's just a matter of just more people seeing it on platforms like Ring of Honor and AEW. So Yuta's been ready to do something like this for a while. I remember seeing him at Dojo Pro in Nashville. I was one of maybe 10 people in that building, and he was like great then. And this was like 4 years ago. And it's like, I love seeing his progression where he's at right now. And Josh Woods, we've seen him on AEW Dark a handful of times and stuff. Like he's going to be fine. He's got a very bright future in wrestling too. It's just clear that right now the focus amongst Wheeler Yuta is definitely a focus right now, like just in general with Tony Khan and kind of getting him the right spot, it looks like.
It does feel like both men can be a part of the Ring of Honor roster moving forward.
Yeah.
And by the way, more than anything, we've been talking about it for weeks. When's Yuta going to get the graphic? When's he going to get the official graphic? When is going to be All Elite? Well, after that match, after winning the Pure title, guess who got his All Elite graphic? Wheeler Yuta is All Elite. He is officially part of the team. So there you go. It's happened. We can stop asking for it because he got his wish. I'm very happy to see it.
Yes, good for him. 1
Absolutely.
billion % deserves it.
Daniel R sends a humper chat saying, and I hope Kangol Hat Daniel Garcia shows up in Ring of Honor at some point. I think the whole sports entertainer versus guys like Gresham would be hilarious. I could be down with that. I would love to see a little crossover Ring of Honor versus the sports entertainers. How do you feel about that?
Oh, yeah, I would love that. I would absolutely love it.
You want to see Chris Jericho in Ring of Honor?
I want to see Chris Jericho anywhere. So yeah, that includes, I want to see Chris Jericho in GCW. I mean, him and Nick Gage had that death match on AEW. I think Chris Jericho would work anywhere. But yeah, I mean, the Daniel Garcia thing is like a mind frick to me because it's like it seems so unnatural seeing him doing what he's doing right now. But I think it's perfect because it will eventually lead to him. Like this is going to help him overall. And because he is gaining more of a personality, he's getting more people to talk about him. He's giving people like a reason to dislike him and stuff. More than just being a really good wrestler that you can cheer or boo. That said, like, yeah, give me sports entertainer Daniel Garcia versus professional wrestler Wheeler Yuta for the ROH Pure Championship all day.
Guys, get your Humper Chats in at humperchats.com, your Super Chats as well. We're getting towards the main event, the Ring of Honor World Championship match. Jonathan Gresham taking on Bandito. They were unifying those two titles. We'll get into that in a second. First of all, this is a great username, by the way. I miss Windows 7 with a Super Chat that says, wow, Briscoes and FTR and Gresham Bandito were both match of the night contenders. And freaking Joe, we're going to get to Samoa Joe in a minute, AEW Revolution was amazing, but this has been pay-per-view of the year so far, in my opinion. This was a very strong card overall, and we're going to talk about the world title match. A little bit of lulls in the last two matches, the TV title match and the Pure Rules match, but I think it was there just to serve a greater purpose later on in AEW.
I think with these, like those, like the Suzuki and Yuta matches, I think part of that also might have been FTR on the Briscoes, like how long that match went. I'm not saying like they necessarily went over the time or whatever. I don't know, but it seemed like that was like almost a half hour long. And then it was like, well, Suzuki's here. We got to at least make sure the crowd gets to do the Casa, like they at least give them that a few times. And we don't really care if the match is long. Like give them the theme song and let him do his thing for a few minutes. And then the Yuta Woods match was kind of quick too, but it still went about 13 minutes. But no, I'm with you. I agree with the Humper Chat. Like I said earlier, to me, the two matches of the night clearly, in my opinion, were FTR versus the Briscoes and Gresham versus Bandito. I personally thought the tag title match was a little bit better, but I'm not going to argue that. I mean, if Gresham Bandito is your fave, then I got no problem with that. I think it's a very good choice.
I will add this on the Suzuki winning the TV title thing. Here's the thing you can do with Minoru Suzuki. Because it's a television title, once Ring of Honor has television, let's say they tape in clusters, you bring him in only to work TV, only to work special TV main event matches for that, with that title on the line. I think that's a good placement for Minoru Suzuki.
You could do that. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. So let's get in. Jonathan Gresham, Bandito, Ring of Honor World Championship match. It was slow to start, but the match was very much rooted in these guys wanting to wrestle each other and not just slap the shit out of each other. And I don't hate that. I like the way it builds. I do like the way it builds. I agree with you when you said that the tag match was more for you, was more the match you enjoyed the most. I felt the same way, because as good as Gresham and Bandito was, it really didn't kick up into that high gear until very late in the match, after we started seeing Chavo Guerrero get involved and subsequently kicked out. At one point, commentary even talked about Chavo versus Tony Khan, and I thought, oh crap, are we going to turn that into a thing? But clearly not the point, not what happened. Instead, we just had a really good, just simple match that eventually turned into a high flying fest. By the way, shout out to Bandito with a 60-second vertical suplex. My God.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Very good stuff.
Yeah, when he went past 10, I was like, maybe he'll go to 20. And then it's like every 10, I was like, no way he's gonna. And then I realized like, oh, he's doing a minute. Like I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is insane. In
my notes, I just kept going like, okay, 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And eventually I just got to, oh no, he's gonna do a full 60 seconds. And that was the crowd even counting to 60. Kudos, by the way. Most crowds would get bored after 30. Y'all stuck with it for a full minute. So I like that.
Yeah, and he was doing it himself for the first like 20 something, and then it was like, I gotta hold this dude up.
Even he got tired.
Yeah, exactly.
We had Paul Turner kind of, I don't know, it was a weird spot. Bandito hits a super kick on Gresham, and then referee Paul Turner kind of like pretends like he got smacked in the face and got knocked out. And then Gresham goes for a springboard on the other side of the ring, and Chavo yeets the ROH title at Jonathan Gresham. And there you go. Bandito tells referee Paul Turner to eject Chavo Guerrero, which to me, again, it just felt nonsensical. I get that the story was Bandito saying, do not get involved, do not cheat, but it felt forced to me. How did you feel with Chavo being involved in this match with Bandito and their work together?
Yeah, it felt forced to me as well. Because the belt thing was also after Bandito had pushed, Chavo had pushed Bandito out of the way when Gresham went over the top rope. And yeah, it just didn't, like we said earlier, it didn't make any sense for Chavo and Bandito to be aligned to begin with. And I think this was more so a way of protecting Bandito in the loss than anything. Like, so then at least when it's talked about, it's like, yeah, Gresham beat him. He beat him straight up. Bandito did the noble thing. He told the ref what Chavo was doing. He got rid of Chavo. Bandito comes off looking like a good guy, but part of that threw him off enough to where like that could be part of an excuse as to why he didn't beat Gresham. But Gresham still looks great in the victory because like he didn't do anything to cheat or anything. So like, but the other thing that makes me a little bit confused and almost concerned a little bit about the Bandito and Chavo thing is like, what could possibly be the best payoff to involve Chavo in this? Like, if the payoff is Chavo versus Bandito, I don't think that's a match people are really like clamoring for. Like, Bandito is fantastic, but like, Chavo Guerrero at this point, I love Chavito, you know what I mean? Like, I've been around a long time and everything, but that I don't think does it for a lot of fans. Like, knowing Chavo versus Bandito is going to be going down, you know what I mean? Like, so I don't really know what this leads to or why you would involve Chavo outside of potentially, like we were kind of alluding to earlier, if this was kind of like a make good because of the whole Chavo AEW kind of scenario, like to like maybe, mend some bridges there or something. Yeah.
I said this earlier and you just said it yourself. It felt to me like that was a make good. That was just a way to maybe dot some I's and cross some T's with Chavo and Tony, but who knows, maybe that'll bring Chavo Guerrero back to Ring of Honor later on. Maybe there's a larger story to tell with him and Bandito. like you said, I don't know what that could be, but if that's the way they go, then that's the way they go. Jonathan Gresham wins the Ring of Honor Unified Championship. I do like that Bandito did hit the 21 plex a couple times. Got countered, got kicked out of. They really did make Bandito look good in defeat. Regardless, the finish was just Gresh hitting that springboard moonsault, tope to the outside, running in and doing the Maestral pin, and then that was it. And it was just a very quick match, very quick finish to that match. Did not expect it, but I enjoyed it personally.
Yeah, I liked it a lot because Bandito eventually did hit the 21 plex and Gresham kicked out, and that's huge. It's kind of like kicking out of a one-winged angel. Like, you just don't see it, and when it happens, it's a really big deal. Because he also has all those other moves, like the X, whatever he calls that, the go to sleep type thing he does off his shoulders to his knee.
He just calls it the X knee. Sorry,
X knee, something like that. Yeah,
it's not very original.
Yeah, like I knew it was the X something generic, but he's such a damn good worker, and same with Gresham. I mean, but they're very different, but they mesh really well together. Yeah, I mean, I kind of expect these kind of matches for Gresham to end like that, mainly because, and this is one thing that I love about Jonathan Gresham, he doesn't really have a finishing move. Like, he has some moves that are kind of his go-tos. Like, he does the octopus a lot, and there's certain types of pinning combinations he goes for, but you never really know what's going to end a match for him. Like, it could be a clothesline, it could be an STF, it could be a crossface, it could be a heel hook. It's very similar to kind of what Daniel Bryan does as well a lot of the time. Like, he has many ways he can finish you. And I love that about Jonathan Gresham. So I like the finish. I thought the finish was a very Gresham type finish where, he tried so many different pinning combinations throughout the match, and eventually this one worked. Like, he just kept grinding it until finally, like, Bandito just couldn't kick out after trying over and over and over again. And Bandito hit him with everything he had too. So once again, I think that's why Chavo is involved, because like both guys hit everything they had. Both guys got their finishers, and they emptied the tank on one another. And the one thing that put it over the edge was like that little bit of, well, what would have happened if Chavo wasn't there? Would Bandito have won if Chavo wasn't involved? And that also could potentially sell a rematch between the two a little bit later on too, which, I'm down for seeing them wrestle each other again down the line for sure. So,
well, let's talk about the post-match. Let's get
Yes.
into that. Out comes Jay Lethal again, wanting to send the people home on a good note. He was really playing the I deserve it guy. I made Ring of Honor and all that stuff. And then he challenges Jonathan Gresham to the first match as Gresham's new champion, says, I want that first title match. And Gresham says no. And he says, no, your actions tonight show that you are not honorable. You do not deserve the match. Lethal shoves Gresham, and Gresham's like, oh, we're going to do it like this, are we? And then out comes Sanjay Dutt again. But Sanjay Dutt turns on everybody and takes out Jonathan Gresham. Lethal and Dutt are teaming up. They're together. Commentary is yelling, Sanjay Dutt, he's just a producer. He's not actually a wrestler, Lee Moriarty, you mentioned earlier, comes out, goes after Jay Lethal, but then they get double teamed by Lethal and Dutt. And then, I don't know if you know this, but there's another champion from Ring of Honor that also made a big splash in the promotion. And he made his return tonight. Samoa Joe is not only part of Ring of Honor, but he is also a part of All Elite Wrestling. He also received the graphic. So Samoa Joe joins Ring of Honor, joins All Elite Wrestling. He'll be on Dynamite this Wednesday to talk about his experience, all the stuff. Let's get a couple of Humper Chats, Super Chats out of the way. Ricardo the Bad Guy sends a Humper Chat that says, if this is what TK has in mind for Ring of Honor, then I'm in. Never been big on ROH before. I am now. I get you on that one. And Doug Kahn sent a super chat that said, Joe and Punk in AEW, sign me up. Do you think, Steven Jensen, that we can see CM Punk show up in Ring of Honor in this iteration? Would you like to see it? Do you think we could see it?
Yes and yes. I want to see it. I think it will happen at some point. And I think we'll get Samoa Joe versus CM Punk. I don't know if it'll happen in Ring of Honor or in AEW, but I mean, the options are limitless right now. I mean, Keith Lee, limitless. The options are endless right now when it comes to like all these guys. I mean, it's really mind blowing the time we're living in right now, and Yeah, I mean, Samoa Joe being involved again is going to be awesome. And I can see him maybe becoming a part of the Blackpool Combat Club, maybe. Like, I mean, he got the history with Regal and with Danielson and Mox and stuff. I mean, that's there's a lot they can do with Samoa Joe, but it's cool that they've already planted the seeds for, Jay Lethal stole the titles. I'm not thrilled about Jay Lethal's involvement here, mainly because we've seen him as the Ring of Honor World Champion so much over the years that, like, it seems like I want to see some new stuff, but the history is there of Jay Lethal being the protege of Samoa Joe. And, like, if this builds to a Jay Lethal Samoa Joe match, that would be really cool to see in 2022. Like, it's just, like, mind blowing that that's a thing that will probably happen. So yeah, this just opens the doors to just so many possibilities with Samoa Joe being involved in Ring of Honor and AEW now.
Absolutely. James Zimmerman sent us a Humper chat saying, home run show. Could this be leading to a Punk versus Joe match? If so, where? Put it in a giant baseball stadium. I don't know if it would sell it out, but I think it would be a fun match to do on either a massive Ring of Honor show, or you can do it on a very, very large scale Dynamite, a Grand Slam style Dynamite.
Yeah, for sure. I'm pumped for what they're doing right now. Like, I mean, just the CM Punk stuff alone recently has been just super top tier pro wrestling, in my opinion. Like, now you're going to throw Samoa Joe into the mix, and, like, Tony Khan is a guy who respects the history of the business and, like, the past storylines and the long-term storytelling and all of this. We're about to get some really cool stuff with Samoa Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. Drelixel also sent us a super chat, says, I just realized we can get Joe versus Punk and my brain melted. And mine did too. And I would love to see it. Well, again, we'll see how it plays out with AEW and with the Ring of Honor partnership, or really the ownership. Let's get it straight. And then Ian Hunter sent us a super chat that says, Joe, Gresham, Moriarty versus Blackpool Combat Club and Yuta, please. Is that a match you want to see, Steven Jensen?
Absolutely.
I think I want to see it too. And wrap it up tonight before we give our final thoughts. Chris Mueller, Doc, says, hi guys. I feel like Madcap Moss winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal means I owe Joel this $5. Ring of Honor was a lot of fun tonight. Tag team match stole the show, possibly the weekend. For those who don't know, over on the Blue brand, Madcap Moss won a Battle Royal that I said he would win, and he's going to win the Intercontinental Championship, and you're welcome. Let's get to final thoughts. Tonight's Ring of Honor show, Steven Jensen, best night of your life. What do you think? How did you feel coming out of it?
Well, I'll say that's the only thing I know about SmackDown tonight. That's it right there. Shout out Madcap Moss. I supported you in Raw Underground, so it's good to know that you're doing big things now. Winning Andre Battle Royal is not on WrestleMania, but kind of almost on WrestleMania. I don't know. He's on WrestleMania though. He's going to be accompanying Baron Corbin to the ring, Happy Corbin to the ring against Drew McIntyre, right? So
they're going to cost each other the match. I'm telling you, but this isn't the WrestleMania show. We're talking Ring of Honor.
No, it isn't. It definitely is not. But yes, I very much enjoyed this show. I thought this was great. This was a great reintroduction to Ring of Honor for the reimagined version of the company going forward. I think that the way that this is going to, play off of and play with AEW going forward, I think they have planted a lot of seeds that I'm very, very excited about. And overall, once again, between this and the collective and all the other wrestling going on right now, Spring Break Part 2 starts in like a half hour. Shout out Sean Ross Sapp. He is my official prediction. I said it on my collective preview on FightfulSelect.com. My prediction for the Cluster F is Sean Ross Sapp winning the whole thing tonight. So yeah, there's still a lot of wrestling this weekend. We got both nights of WrestleMania. We got NXT. We got more collective. We got more WrestleCon. We got a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, this is a great, great week and weekend to be a professional wrestling fan. And I enjoyed Ring of Honor tremendously.
For those who are wanting a little bit more Ring of Honor news, there is a media scrum going on. I know that Will Washington from Grapsity Pod is videotaping it. I'm so old. He's recording it. Sean Ross Sapp on his Twitter, he's giving updates about what Tony's been saying about Ring of Honor and what's moving forward. A really, really good show tonight. Really, really good stuff coming up this weekend. If you're watching wrestling, enjoy what you can, enjoy what you find. A new reimagined Ring of Honor came out tonight, and I think it was a step in the right direction. And that's it. That's all I got to add to this whole thing. Steven Jensen, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can follow me on Twitter at FightTalk _ FIGHTTALK _. You can use code FightTalk, FIGHTTALK, all as one word, no spaces, in the promo code spot on independentwrestling.tv or IWTV.live. Helps you out when you use that code. And as far as stuff coming up, the Weekender, I usually record the Fightful Select Weekender podcast on Sundays. That's covering the world of independent pro wrestling. I will most likely record that on Monday or Tuesday this week. I did 2 episodes of the Weekender. One of them is free, and it's a collective preview. There's still a lot of shows that haven't happened if you want to get previews for them available right now. But because there's so much shows going on right now, I'm going to have to go back and watch some of this stuff, and it'll probably get recorded on Monday or Tuesday this week. That's available every week on FightfulSelect.com. I do a show every Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, called Live Rounds with my friend Doug. Y'all might remember him from Bill and Doug, RVD Tito for Life. That's on the RVD Tito for Life YouTube channel, so check that out. Every Thursday, the Spotlight, Fightful.com, myself and Jeremy, we interview wrestlers, promoters, YouTube creators, a whole bunch of stuff, talk about the world of wrestling. Everything else we got going on, I'll update on my Twitter. You can catch me and Joel on Twitch every Thursday, twitch.tv/Fightful Gaming, normally playing Mario Kart and Nintendo Switch. So, yeah, Degrassi Dudes, 10 a.m. every Friday. Fightful Overbooked. Fightful Overbooked.
Overbooked. Go to Fightful Overbooked, youtube.com/Fightful Overbooked. That's a channel where I do a lot of my stuff. I am at Joel Pearl, JoelPearl. Go watch all the wrestling. Go have fun with it. I think that's it. That's all. Yes, ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. Enjoy your evening. We'll see you next time.